Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Muskogee Creek National Council pre-agenda meeting. Today is Saturday, April 30th, 2022. The time is 9 a.m. My name is Speaker Will Lowe. I call this meeting to order. At this time for invocation, I'd like to ask Representative Randall Hicks if he would say our invocation, please. Amen. Middle Representative Hicks. Roll call. National Council Secretary Alicia Strobel.
Speaker William Lowe.
Here.
Galen Cloud.
Here.
Mary Crawford.
Present.
Joyce Deere.
Present.
Patrick Freeman. Sandra Golden. Sandra Golden.
Present.
Leonard Gouge.
Here.
Nelson Harjo. Joseph Hicks.
Here.
Randall Hicks.
Present.
Robert Huft.
Present.
Anna Marshall.
Present.
Charles McHenry.
Here.
Thomasine Yahola Osborne.
Present.
Darrell Proctor.
Here.
Mark Randolph.
Present.
Nelson Harjo. Speaker, you have 15 present, 1 absent.
15 present, 1 absent. That constitutes a quorum. Any business transacted moving forward will be valid. Agenda review, Health, Education, and Welfare, Chairperson Joyce Deere.
Mado Speaker, we have no additions.
Mado, Representative Deere. Land, Natural Resources, and Cultural Preservation, Chairman Darrell Proctor.
Thank you, Speaker. We have no additions.
Mado, Representative Proctor. Business, Finance, and Justice, Chairperson Thomasine Yahola Osborne.
Speaker, we have no additions.
Mado, Representative Yahola Osborne. Other business. We are now in other business. At this time, we will have nominee interviews. And all the council that was here for for business BF&J, we did hear in depth a pretty good synopsis from Ms. Luann Hudson. So, Ms. Luann, if you want to come down and just give us a 2-minute synopsis of why you would like to be renominated for the board, we'll ask you some questions, and that will be that. If you could make sure that light is on and speak into the microphone, please.
Okay, yes, it is on. Yes, thank you. Okay, my name is Luann Hudson, and I've had an opportunity to serve on this board for the last 6 years. I feel like in the last 6 years, we've made great strides with the board. Chris asked me if today I would tell a little bit about myself. I grew up in a small town in Missouri, moved to Oklahoma, raised 2 daughters, was a single mom for 10 years, and I did not remarry until I graduated from school. We had a business for 5 years with 11 employees, so I know all the struggles and the conditions of being self-employed. And then that's one reason I enjoy serving on this board and seeing Creek Nation citizens develop and grow into that. I believe that people don't know how much don't care so much about what you know in this life until you show them how much you care. And I believe that our loan fund room does that. We take a personal interest in every applicant. So, and I want to tell just a moment about the Muskogee Loan Fund. Also, I've been a commercial loan officer for Bank of Oklahoma for the last 25 years and office out of the Muskogee location. We assist, like I said, Creek Nation citizens in both business and consumer loans. We have a total of 4 employees that have done a great job. Chris has trained the staff to become very efficient. Everyone has received certification from the American Bankers Association. The team has provided 35 training sessions for Creek citizens in Okmulgee, Muskogee, Okemah, Tulsa, Glenpool, and Sapulpa. And over 2,000 people have attended these trainings. We have done like $2.8 million in loans so far, and we hope to hit $3 million by year end this year. So this will be our largest yet in loan growth. We've done $572,000 in consumer loans, most of them being Christmas loans with payroll deduction. And I did want you to know that our delinquency rate is below 2%, which is excellent.
Great.
So thank you very much.
Outstanding. Yes, ma'am. Do we have any questions, comments from the National Council in attendance? Yes, sir. Representative Randolph.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd just like to say Ms. Hudson is one of the founders and very pleasant, very professional, very smart lady with a good heart. Thank you.
Outstanding. Any other questions, comments? I will say I've had the pleasure of knowing Ms. LeGuan for quite some time. We served with the Indian Chamber of Commerce many, many years ago before my beard was actually turning white. So I think even then she did an outstanding job for Indian country. So it's an honor to have her actually represent our Muskogee Loan Fund for our tribe. So Ms. LeGuan, I totally support you. Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you. Next item on the agenda, Chester Pittman, Fountainhead Creek Golf Course, LLC, Board of Directors. Mr. Pittman, if you would, just give us a quick synopsis of who you are and why you would like to serve. And
I'm Chester Pittman. I've been in education for about 35 years. I was at Oklahoma for most of those years as a coach, principal, and I've moved on. I've been coaching golf and teaching golf played golf in college and been involved in sports my whole life with in education. I'm at Schulter now as a new superintendent. So I try to keep everything based on trying to help the young people, especially tribal people that my team at Oklahoma had. We were all tribal and we won.
Great.
It was nice to win. We won a lot and they did well. And Fountainhead was a big part of that. So I think I might be able to kind of keep that going and keep things further, especially for a lot of our young people.
All right, great. Do we have any questions, comments for Mr. Pittman? Representative Hicks.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, Mr. Pittman. The reason I selected Mr. Pittman to be on the board is one, I do know him. Two is he takes pride in what he does. I know he just went to Schulter and actually given the school a new facelift, and I believe the enrollment increased. But that just shows a part of who he is and what he does. And like you said, he coaches our Native Americans in golf, and that was the other thing that I was kind of speaking about the other night is the golf is becoming more popular with our Native American children. And out there on the golf course, Mr. Pittman's always willing to assist when and where he can. So I just wanted to say I fully support him. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hicks. Comments, questions, council representatives? I will say I do concur with Representative Hicks. Unfortunately, Mr. Pittman has seen me play golf, and it's not that well, but, I think him being from down there, he understands the trials and tribulations that Fountainhead does face, and I think he'll do an outstanding job on our board of directors, so I do agree with Representative Hicks. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, but Mr. Pittman, we appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
We will have you and Ms. LeGuan's agenda or bills on the 10 o'clock meeting, so we'll be voting then, okay? So we'll see you then, too. At this time, in other business, citizen request to speak on behalf of NCA 22-052, former council representative, Lucian Tiger. Mr. Tiger, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you for allowing me time this morning, Council. Good morning. Thank you again for allowing me time to speak. I'm here to speak on behalf of my comments for NCA 22052. First off, I would like to make sure the Council, everybody on the Council is aware of TR 21-044, especially the new Council representatives. Are you all aware of that piece of legislation? That legislation is where the Council approved Michael Parks to represent 3 citizens of the nation, 3 employees of the nation that are also citizens in regards to the taxation issue. And that, like I said, that was in, that was TR 21-044. There was no money appropriated because the Attorney General's office did have that money in their budget to take care of Mr. Parks. And that is where Ms. Strobel's case has been heard by Mr. Parks by the, that case by Mr. Parks was in the administrative law judge. And as you all are aware, the administrative law judge ruled in favor of Ms. Strobel, which was huge for Indian Country, which was huge for Muskogee Creek Nation. My concern is if the nation at this time goes forward and jumps those administrative processes through the state, that it could directly affect those citizens that Mr. Parks is already representing. And also, there was a letter from Mr. Parks that I requested, in his opinion, of the pros and cons. And he had 1 pro and 4 cons as to the nation going forward with this. You know, this is a huge impact on the nation and myself. You know, I also have retained Mr. Parks as my legal counsel on this. You know, you have 8 to 10 Muskogee Creek citizens that Mr. Parks is representing. 6 of those the nation is paying for. You know, the others are paying out of pocket. And when Ms. Strobel's case was ruled on by that administrative law judge, that was huge for all of us. And with that being said, with Mr. Parks, if he is allowed to continue to move forward, which he will continue to move forward, even if the nation does go to the federal court, you know, it's my belief, as well as Mr. Parks and many people that I've spoken to about this, that it would be kicked back from the federal court, because there's many cases that are mentioned in the legislation, you know, talking about previous cases. But one that I would like to read to you came from Connors and Winters, and I'm not sure if you all are aware that Connors and Winters gave the nation their opinion on the taxation issue in May of 21. And one thing it says, in Osage Nation versus Oklahoma, the Northern District Court of Oklahoma relied on the holding and Tax Commission to opine that the state would have jurisdiction to tax income from a tribal member living and working on fee land, even within a reservation, because Oklahoma's allotment history provides tribes with a diminished interest in such fee lands. Although the court first established that the Osage Nation reservation had been disestablished and stated that income of a tribal member resident on fee lands earned from sources in which the nation does not have a significant interest from employment with the state or a non-member enterprise or entity, even in the Osage County, assuming it were still a reservation, would be subject to state income tax. So this is going to be an uphill battle, irregardless. But why I'm asking that this legislation be postponed indefinitely is to allow Mr. Parks to continue with the cases that he has in litigation with the state of Oklahoma. You know, Ms. Strobel's case is already going through the appeal process. No, so that's just the second step. Then the third would be to the Oklahoma Supreme Court. Then the fourth step would be to the federal government, which is what this legislation 22052 is requesting, to go straight to the federal government. And I would definitely recommend that you, as council representatives, ask to see the Connors and Winters information about their thoughts on the chances that the nation does have as a whole, because there's a lot in their reports that is good and beneficial to everyone, and there's just a few more points that I'd like to point out. That it states it's an uphill battle, and Connors and Winters represents a nation in a lot of different areas. Representative Huft, as you know, they represent us in a lot of different areas, and you know, I think that their opinion is definitely something that should be looked at. And also, I don't know what the legislative review says for this month. Is there anything in 22052 from the legislative review in regards to good, bad, or indifferent? Representative Randolph? Speaker Lowe?
Yeah, there was an actual opinion. I don't have it right in front of me, but it was, they wanted to caution and wait on us to approve an attorney firm before we proceeded on that. And any council representatives, if you have a better recollection, please chime in, but that's pretty much the gist of it. So there was an actual concern with that.
Thank you. And like I say, I would just like to ask that, I don't understand what the rush was, because I was looking at the legislation and it was brought to the council office on April 20th. BF&J was the 21st. You know, the deadline, I believe, was somewhere around April 7th. I don't understand what the rush was all of a sudden, because it was July 9th, 2020, when this ruling came down. The Attorney General's office did have an opportunity to look at this, case, and they chose to go with, again, Connors and Winters says, file a federal court on behalf of citizens arguing state taxation is precluded under federal law. And it also, their opinion gives the pros and cons of that. So again, I would encourage the council representatives that don't have this and haven't seen this to definitely look at that before you vote on this, because it's very informative as to this piece of legislation. So I want again to say thank you very much for your time. I know this is a very big case for Indian country, and Mr. Parks has done a great job. That's who the nation, the Attorney General's office hired last year to represent these citizens as well as employees. You know, so this is a huge impact on not only myself, because I have a claim as well, but the others that are with Mr. Parks as well. Anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions for Mr. Tiger? Council representatives, comments? Yes, Representative Randolph.
Morning, Mr. Tiger.
Morning, Representative Randolph.
As far as the process goes, so the nation paid Mr. Parks with AG's office for how many people?
Three employees, they're obviously citizens, as well as 3 citizens that are non-employees. Because when you file your taxes, the 3 criteria, you have to be a citizen, you have to live in the reservation, you have to be an employee of the nation.
And yours is separate? They paid for yours, or yours?
No, sir, I paid for my own. Mine's separate. I was not included in that 6.
Okay.
But and mine again goes back to just my council income that I claimed on that, because I did get file a amended return for 17, 18, and 19, and they did return my money to me. Then they sent me my letter requesting that I pay them back with interest. So that's why I retained counsel, and I used the same attorney that the nation was using.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Representative
Thank you,
Randolph.
Speaker.
Yes, sir. I will, for the record, I do have the legislative review right in front of me, so I want to read it for our minutes. It states, NCA 22-052, issues remain that will require additional review and consideration before moving with litigating this matter. Once a law firm is selected to represent the nation, a strategy will be developed that best protects the interests of our citizens and the Muskogee Creek Nation. The strategy will be shared with the National Council before it is implemented and litigation begins. So I just wanted to read that for the record. Mado, Representative Huff, for giving me this. Any other comments, questions for Mr. Tiger?
Speaker Lowe, I have one more comment.
Yes, by all means.
Did the council, do they have a copy of letter from Mr. Parks? Because Mr. Parks did let me know that he did send that to you.
Yes, sir. It
Council does
did
have
get
that?
distributed throughout the council. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And also just one last comment was I didn't see a TR before the NCA allowing the executive branch to go forth with an agreement. I didn't know if that is going to be addressed at a later
Right.
date.
I believe that will be addressed in the substitute that will be read today from Representative Randolph.
Speaker, thank you. Council, thank you very much for allowing me to speak and voice my concerns on this behalf. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. You're welcome, Mr. Tiger. Mado. Is there any other business, council representatives? Any other business? Hearing none. Announcements. Do we have any announcements? We will have our quarterly session at 10 a.m. That's the only announcement I have. Any others? Adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn. Representative Charles Son McHenry makes a motion to adjourn, seconded by Second Speaker Robert Huff. Voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none opposed, we are adjourned at 9:18 a.m.